So the first thing I'm going to talk about in this game is the story and the graphics, because I think they are the weaker parts of this game. The story is extremely simple. Pretty much there's like this guy that builds robots, and then the king takes those robots to take over his kingdom, and we have to, pretty much take down the king and recover, the city for the people, something like that. And the story of this game is told to us with letters and cutscenes. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read a single letter, but I did watch every single cutscene. And yeah, the story is pretty much told almost in flashbacks, and the cutscenes aren't that great, like the voice acting, and especially, like the graphics are also not very good. So I don't know, everyone just looks very creepy. I don't know, I could not connect with a single character in this game, outside of, ourselves, I guess. But yeah, the story did not impress me. When it comes to the graphics, like I said, the cutscenes are not very good, and the visual of the game, it's also not that great. I know this sounds bad, but I wouldn't be surprised if this game would run on a PlayStation 3, because that's, it looks like a PlayStation 3 game, and I'm not trying to be bad or anything and sound evil. It's just the way it looks. It's nothing special. It's just a city, a big city. But I did want to check, and this game was made by a short team, so they probably don't have the funds to do something much better than this. So you kind of have to give them a pass, I guess. But there's one thing that I cannot give a pass in a way, which is the variety. Like this entire game is just this one big city, and everywhere you look, it's just gardens and buildings, gardens and buildings, gardens and buildings. Everything in this game is in this big ass town, and I don't know. I wish there was just more variety, because at a certain point in the game, you feel like you're always in the same place, something like that. On the good side, though, there are some good things on the story and some good things on the graphics. When it comes to the story, I really like the ending. It's kind of sad, seeing, our main character kind of, give her life so that the daughter of the one that built her, recovers herself or something like that. And I also, even though the graphics aren't very good and it's pretty much just one big city, I do like this, the Victorian Gothic setting. I mean, it's totally my thing. I mean, Bloodborne is my favorite game. I love Gothic stuff. So this game is totally up my alley. The atmosphere is really, really nice. So yeah, and I also have to talk about the final level. Like the entire game is at nighttime, but the final level, it's daytime, and it looks so much better. The city, I don't know, it just looks really good. Even though I'm a fan of the night and rain and stuff like that, I was surprised. It looks really nice, the final level of this game. But yeah, overall, I cannot give more than a 6 out of 10 to the graphics and the story. When it comes to the soundtrack and the gameplay, holy shit, this game gets way better. Actually, the soundtrack, I have really good things to say, because I think the soundtrack is quite epic, which is something I really love. It's really my type of music that you listen to in this game. And even when you finish the game, like there's this opera music. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my thing. It's really, really nice. I will definitely be looking the musics on YouTube. And besides the music, I also like a lot of sounds of this game, especially like when you find a new area, the sound that it gives, it's really, really cool. So yeah, I will definitely be checking the soundtrack on YouTube. I really enjoyed most of it. As for the gameplay, there's a lot of things to talk about. I think this is probably the most important thing in the entire game. And when it comes to things I didn't like very much, I think the weapons. I couldn't find that many. I probably found 10 weapons in the entire game. I did try all of them, but I don't know, I just did not fall in love with any of them, so I just stick to the weapon that I started the game with, and I played pretty much like 90% of the game with that weapon. So I just didn't care much about the weapons in this game. The game at the beginning also feels kind of clunky, when you come from, games from Software to this, it took some time to adapt, but it's really just a matter of time, because once you adapt, this game is actually really nice to play. I think that the speed of the game is really nice. The movement is really fluid. You can, do things like strafing and stuff like that. I really enjoyed my time, controlling my character. Another thing that I really liked about the gameplay is, the exploration. This game rewards exploration. and rewards really well, because if you want to level up your weapons or find new weapons and stuff like that, or new dressing, new costumes for your character, you're gonna have to go outside of the linear path, because most of the things that are good in this game, they will be found in places that are outside of the main path to the boss. And since I'm talking about paths to the bosses, this game has a really cool thing, which is it gives you a compass. So every time you're lost, and it's kind of easy to get lost in this game because like a lot of things look like the same, you have this compass system that will to take you where you need to go. Another thing that I also enjoyed was the runtime. This game took me 11 hours to finish, and I think it finished at the right moment. I did not want it to do more levels, I did not want it to do more bosses. I had fun with the time that it lasted. So yeah, perfect runtime for me. I'm totally fine with that. Another thing I want to, say good things is the level design. There are a lot of shortcuts in this game, and they are very important. You really should look for the shortcuts. They will make the run to the boss a lot shorter, and to get to checkpoints, to recover your health and stuff like that. There are really tons of them, and they're all very important. I think they're very well placed. Besides that, I also really like that you can climb to buildings and go around the roofs and stuff like that. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed my time in the ceilings and look everywhere from the top of the buildings. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. The menu in this game is also a thing to complement. It's super easy. There are so many games when you press the menu button and you get like extremely confused, but in this game it's super easy to understand. It's took like 5 minutes to understand everything that you needed to do in this game. So I'm really happy with that. And to end this, I also have to compliment the balance on this game. Like, at no point there I found ganks, everything seemed fair in this game. You always fight like 1, 2, maximum maybe 3 enemies at the same time. And the bosses also, I never felt like I was overpowered or the boss was doing too much damage to me. Everything just felt balanced. I really had a fun time playing this game. So gameplay and soundtrack, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. It's really nice, really nice. And to finish the review, I'm going to talk about enemies and bosses, which is probably the most important thing to people that like Souls games. And when it comes to enemies, I guess the worst thing about the enemies is that there isn't that much variety. I'm only gonna guess, but there's probably, I don't know, 20 enemies in the entire game. And I'm also guessing again, but around the 4 or 5 hour mark of the game, you pretty much seen almost every single enemy in the game. So it gets to a point that you almost just want to run past them because you already fought them a million times. And normally they also don't give you, like crazy rewards. The crazy rewards are given to you by exploration. Enemies mostly give you like potions to heal. But there are the enemies that there are, I really like them. There are especially these guys that have like these horns that are playing and they look like musicians, and I like the way they look and the way they run at you. They are very funny looking. And I also like these guys that after they get like half health, they just commit suicide to try to kill you. There are some fun enemies in this game. I enjoy them. But when it comes to bosses, here is where things go up and down quite a bit, because there are mini bosses in this game and normal bosses, like the main bosses. And mini bosses, I think I fought like 10 of them, and 7 main bosses. There are optional bosses, but I didn't found them. But the mini bosses that I fought, there's nothing like really wrong with them. They have like 3-4 moves maybe. They're quite simple and easy. But the problem is that, you fight a mini boss and like 5 minutes later, and the next level, you look to your left and to your right, and there will be 2 of them, and they're not bosses anymore. They're just common enemies, and they will go down with like 4 hits or something like that. And this happens to every single mini boss in this game. They just become normal enemies, and yeah, I think that makes the impact of the boss lose a lot of effect. And I don't know, it was just something I didn't like it very much. I understand it, but it's not a thing I like, definitely. So when it comes to main bosses, I really like them. They have cool soundtracks. I like the way they look. They have some crazy attacks, and they actually have a good moveset, like they have lots of moves. And yeah, I had fun. I don't know why, but I think the main bosses in this game are a blast. But you know, on the negative, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I should call it negative, because you know, the Souls-like doesn't have to be crazy hard, and this game is definitely on the easier side. I mean, the boss I died to the most was the final boss, and even him just killed me twice. So yeah, this ends up being like a Souls-like that is more on the easy side. So I still give it a 7.5 out of 10 to enemies and bosses. So to finish this review, I'm gonna score this game a 7.5 out of 10. Do I recommend it to people or not? I mean, depends. I mean, if you're a hardcore gamer and that are looking for a crazy challenge, then I definitely do not recommend this game. It's very easy compared to most Souls games. But you know, if you want a game that is very well balanced and you just want to have some fun killing cool enemies and cool bosses with a really nice soundtrack, you know, and you don't want to think much about the graphics or the story, then this game is for you. It's a fun game. I think it's probably one of the best ways to describe this game. I think it's fun. So yeah, that's my review of SteelRising, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if possible, please subscribe. I'm super close from 1,000 subscribers, so if you could help, it would be really cool. Anyway, I see you guys on the next video, so bye bye.